for
Hi there, everyone. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today, in the morning session, we'll focus on a new project, relatively new project, which is coordinated by the National Technical University of Greece, the InPlanEd project. I'll just say a few words, and then we'll have presentations in relation to the project. It's the first, if I'm not mistaken, multiplier event of the project. I'll just say a few words, and then you will hear more details from the people involved. I think that the project focuses on developing an integrated approach in the curriculum of planning-related schools through this Erasmus Plus project, which aims basically to develop an innovative educational prototype, a course, towards integrated approaches in the planning of inclusive, people-centric, and climate-resilient cities. So more specifically, InPlanEd aims to utilize urban planning and urban mobility along with participatory planning and evidence-based planning as an interconnected planning framework, which is considered by the project consortium as crucial for addressing climate change and contemporary urban challenges. So what we will see today is a presentation in 4 parts. Pantoleon Skayannis will present the integrated planning competences framework. Oops. Sofia Tsadari will present participation in integrated planning approaches. Ilaria Geddes then will focus on the course, the InPlanEd pilot course, planning for inclusive, people-centric, and climate-resilient cities. And Yannis Paraskevopoulos will talk about next steps of the project and the long-term perspective. And these are the project partners. InPlanEd, as I said, is coordinated by NTUA, commonspace, us at the University of Cyprus, the Surf Lab, AESOP, and Noumena. So we can start with Pantoleon presenting the competences framework.
Hello, good morning. I hope you are all well and you slept well yesterday after the unlimited drinks that you were supposed to have had. So, I will present you now the first research we did in the frame of this project. Okay, as Nadia implied, the objectives of the project is to explore the profiles of possible learners, meaning students of planning schools actually, and to see what is offered in the planning schools and what the market needs, and see what is the gap, and try to devise a program, not a program really, a course actually, which will bridge this kind of gap that is supposed to exist as we find from the research. To start with, I have to make a clarification that I come from in the project on behalf of the Association of European Schools of Planning. I hope you know this association. It's a second-level association that the members are the schools of planning in Europe. And these are 160 schools of planning. Nearly all important schools of planning of Europe are members of the Association of Planning Schools, and this AESOP is part of the GPN, the Global Planning Education Network,
Planning Education Network, which actually is an umbrella of AESOP and the American Association of Collegiate Schools of Planning, the Australian and New Zealand, the Asian, Indonesian, which they have a separate association, etc. There are 14 regional, let's say, associations, and GPN is an umbrella. But AESOP and the American one are the most active, I suppose. So anyway, that was a parenthesis to clarify my position in a way. So these are the objectives. We develop a skills inventory, and we explore the discrepancies, as I told you just before. Now, this particular phase of the project had to deliver 2 deliverables, and I'm going to go through both of them in sequence. Okay. So the first one was the competence profiles in the field of integrated planning approaches, and this actually involves a research that addressed both professionals and students, and also educators in the planning profession, that's professors or adjunct professors or whatever, lecturers, those who provide planning education in the European schools. So the aim was to see what their profile is, and we addressed 43 students of planning schools, mainly master students, 17 practitioners or alumni who have a notion of the market, and 30 educational trainers, that is professors at universities of teaching planning or similar courses, and these were 90 in total as the actual project requested. The goals was what I said before. Now, so we had 19 countries surveyed, which I will show you in a moment. And we had questionnaires, which was, there was a generic questionnaire, and we tried to adapt the questionnaire to the specific audience that it was addressed to. It is different for the teachers, different for the students, and different for the professionals, but yet the basic thing was the same for everybody. Now, and we used open questions plus Likert scale questions for wherever that was possible to be done. Okay. Now, our interviewees, let's say, were, as far as the teachers are concerned, you can see the dark colors here. They were from all over Europe, also the students and the practitioners. So we tried to cover many countries, as many as possible, and actually those countries that we had some kind of access, that we knew people and we could phone them and remind them that they have to answer and things like that, because it's not so easy to just send questionnaires and to expect people to answer. They normally don't. You have to come in some kind of contact with them. Okay. Then, what we found from the first part of this survey was that sorry. Sorry about this. We found that the practitioners were saying that what they wanted actually is the students to know more about the public sector, to have some competence in dealing with the public sector and with GIS. The education, research institutes, consultancy firms, real estate, etc., were other sectors that were considered, and the planners also demanded such competences, let's say. But 40% of the professionals do not practice mobility planning, which was something that the project requested. The project requested us to investigate, among other things, the element of urban, that is, how much the planning schools teach something related to urbanity. It's not self-understood that because they are planning schools they do this. And urban mobility, which directs to transport, okay? Okay, now, next, we see that from the point of view of education, okay, the teachers, actually the educators that is, we have these 4 dimensions, okay, and what we try to see is whether these dimensions, urban mobility, participation, and community engagement, also evidence-based planning, were relevant in the job market. What is what do the teachers, the educators say about this? What is their opinion? And we found that generally all 4 dimensions are taught. Let's say taught in a way at schools, but only 40% were related to mobility planning, what we teach. Okay, so that was not, but of course 60% are related. So it's okay, but this minor this percentages might be less than 50%, but it's still high. Okay. The students, the teachers said that all 4 dimensions are dealt with, but the students did not agree. So this is a discrepancy between what the students think and what the teachers, the educators think, which is very interesting actually. The thing is that the students have a clue of the labor market because they are talking with people individually, okay? They're talking to people, they are related, they are participating in minor projects in several offices, and so they are somehow, they know sometimes better than the teachers, if the teachers are entirely academic. Yet in planning, we don't have entirely academic teachers. Some of them are also related to the market. So it's a dodgy thing. Okay. So what we identified in the first phase of this project was that we have gaps in the current educational offer, okay, and we divided what we teach at the universities to hard skills and soft skills, and that is quite important because we know from our own practice and our own knowledge that soft skills are very important. And this is what is lacking in the universities. If you see there, soft skills, which might be public speaking, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, time management, critical thinking, paper writing, participation, etc., to be able to handle focus groups, all these, the soft skills, are not taught. They are sometimes, the several projects that students do during their studies, they employ this kind of skills, or they try to do this, but they're not really taught. There's nothing like this. Of course, you cannot have a course on what skills, but it should be intentional. In the programs, it should be intentional that these things, these skills are somehow included in the whole in the program. Okay, but then of course we found out that there are hard skills also missing, in the sense that all the educators and the professionals and the students claim that these skills are not there necessarily. So these are there. You can see them. Okay, I won't go through them reading it, but you can see them. And it's interesting that also urban design is there, which is a preliminary stage of urban planning, let's say scale-wise. Okay. Then we have from the market, the profiles and skills required by the market, that is the knowledge that we got from professionals actually, okay, was that
they had the profiles, I mean, what we already have is this: spatial planning, urban regional planning, environmental planning, etc. But the requested skills in the market are this, which signals that there is a gap between what is offered and what is there. It's digital spatial analysis, digital geodata management, evaluation of policies, quantitative data collection, socioeconomic analysis, environmental impact assessments, public speaking, and teamwork. These are soft. And these are, even from the market, indicated that we need these things, these skills. And it's interesting to see here that we have quantitative, digital. We have some, I mean, pointing that there's some in the digital world. Something is not there for the planners. Okay, so if we go to the second deliverable of this particular project, or work package, we try to find out to see how the master's program in Europe responds to this thing. Okay, and we had a methodology for that, which is quite interesting, I suppose. So we categorize the master's programs according to level, integrated or not, because in Europe, many universities have integrated master's programs, which is 5 years overall, 4 years or 3 years, the first circle, which is the BA, Bachelor of Science or whatever, Arts, and then they have the next 2 years, kind of masters, which is incorporated into the studies of 5 years. This is because some other schools, the majority actually, they have 3 years as a BA, and the MA is different. They may have or may not have an MA, but it's a completely different thing. Okay, so we have to categorize these programs to see the credits they get, the duration, etc. You will see this in a while in a small example we have. And then to define the course categories, like the categories of the courses, including electives. So we didn't leave out the electives. We included electives, we included the thesis, and we included the fact whether or not they have internship. We send the students to work for some period, some time to the market, and then come back and continue the study. Okay. And then we investigated the crucial information per course, which means that you have a course, let's say you have a planning program, and you have a course which is urban mobility, okay? Then how many credits does this take? 6, 20, 15, what? So we had to see the credits, whether the course is obligatory or not, whether it includes project work. Project work is important because it points to the real world in a way, and to the real profession. So we need that, and we have to see whether a course includes this or not. Because there are courses, like for instance in Bratislava, which are completely theoretical, the whole program. They don't include project work or relation to the market. And we have other courses or programs in different schools which are more towards projects and relation to the world of the market, municipalities, neighborhoods, or whatever they do with planning. Okay, and even we investigated what is the percentage of the final mark, whether the final mark for the course is based on the project work or on the theoretical work, whether there's a balance or not. We try to find out this as well. Okay, then we set the criteria for selecting master's programs. This is important because we try to have a geographical balancing between North, South, East, West Europe as much as possible, but we had limits, of course. We could not have everybody there. Then we had another criteria whether the department is a member of AESOP or not, because we are doing the project in collaboration with AESOP in a way, and the AESOP schools in any case are the most prominent planning schools in the continent, in Europe. Okay, then we had whether there is a website or not. We came across programs which we knew are very interesting. I won't mention the name now, but it was appalling that the website they didn't have enough information. And on top of that, communicating with the people there, phoning them actually, okay, they refused to give information, details for the projects and the courses. It was amazing, this. One of the best programs actually, technological oriented, I won't say which. Yes, we also estimate the possibility of communicating with staff. Whether you pick up the phone and you phone your colleague who's a professor there and you know him, he responds, etc. So this was played also a role. And then we identified the 10 most suitable programs according to our knowledge and our capacity to reach. Okay. Of course, there are others which are also very good, even better perhaps, but we could not reach them very well. So, what we did is what is sought by the program was the element of urban mobility, environment, participatory planning, and evidence-based planning. So what we did, we immediately understood that the first three are content, based on content. Okay, but participatory planning and evidence-based planning are a matter of method. So we distinguish these two things, okay, to be able to research better. And we have also the relation to the market and the project-based work, which is something that indicates the practicality or extroversion of the various courses, programs also, because we are investigating programs here. Okay. So we also had to check the cultural and disciplinary diversity, which is also demanded by the InPlanEd program. Theory and praxis integration, which is important, and labor market opportunities. This I said before in a different way here. Okay, so how we categorize the courses. We took each program, and the program has courses. The courses go here, okay? The courses go here, but they are under various categories. So each course, we would put under a category that we constructed the categories. Okay, from our experience and knowledge, we made these categories, we constructed these categories, and under each category we put the course of a particular program. Okay, I'll give you an example afterwards. So the categories, I won't go through them all, of course, but I'm just telling you that there's positive sciences and technological categories, natural and environmental categories. Under each one, you see what sort of courses might be there. Planning and design categories, okay. Then we have social sciences. We have method and ethics categories, because this is very important in planning as well. Final steps and deepening of educational possibilities is the elected courses, practical experience of internship, and missions, various missions in countries, etc., that some universities provide or request, and the diploma thesis. The diploma thesis is there because it's not self-understood that all programs have a diploma thesis in the program. Okay, some do not really have one. One has a minor version, a smaller version. Okay, then after this, you see the countries that were involved in this thing. Okay, so we try to do this north-south and east-west somehow. Best to our capacity doing this. Then we have the universities that participated here are the programs, the master's program. Is Amsterdam, University of Amsterdam, University of Aveiro in Portugal, University of Birmingham in the UK, Slovak University of Technology in Bratislava, Technische Universiteit Dresden, the Vanda School of Planning and University College in London, the Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden, the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki Master's Program in Thessaloniki, Greece, the Polytechnico di Torino, and the Technische Universität Wien, which is also very good and a very complicated program, in fact. So investigating this, just to give you an example how we did it, how we did this, this one, how we filled this, okay? Just an example, let's take Aveiro as an example.
They have a master's course in regional and urban planning. It's a polytechnic school. They have such a department. It's a 2 years full-time program, taking 120 ECTS. It's level 7, according to the European level categorization of studies in relation to professions. It's level 7, which is 4th and 5th year after starting the BC. That is, you do the BC, the Bachelor of Science or Arts, which is 3 or 4 years, depending. And then after that, you have this program, so it's level 7. And the interesting thing is that the underlying bachelor program is public administration, which is that they get students from this pool of public administration, which is their undergraduate course. And it's not architecture, that's why I'm emphasizing this. It's not architecture or, let's say, economics or regional economics or whatever. It's public administration. They're not very wrong, of course. There's a logic behind that, there's some rationale. But anyway, it's not what we have in the rest of the European schools. Okay, and they have 2 branches. So this is a general information on the particular program. And let's take as an example the category of urban planning, which could include urban management, leisure, whatever relates to the urban world. And they have these 3 courses actually. And these 3 courses are public urban space, urban planning, and urban plan implementation. And here is the information about the courses in great detail. Okay, I won't go through that. But another example is University of Birmingham. I won't go through this. But the interesting thing is that in the category of urban planning, we had just 1 course, which is called Sustainable Cities. But this course has 20 credits, and it takes up a lot of time during the week of the students. Okay, so so we investigate what they have there, and especially in relation to what we are looking for: mobility, urbanity, evidence-based planning, or whatever. So we did this to all of them, and we found the final table that we concluded is this one. So you see the universities here, and we have the elements that we're looking for: urban mobility, eco-environmental dimension, participatory planning, evidence-based planning, market, internship. If they have project-based courses, the years that each master lasts, and the ECTS credits that they have, they give. Okay. Now, having this, we can see what is actually offered there, okay, and to what degree, if it's really offered, or if it's weak in the program of that university, or knows that it doesn't exist in the program. It's very interesting to see what does not exist, and whether there's a possibility, or whether it's limited or not. Whether it's only elective, for instance, in this one, in Aveiro, participatory planning, it's a course actually, but it's elective. It's not bad, but just information is there to have an objective view. So, after studying this, in relation, of course, with detailed information we have, we're concluding that what the programs are of these 10 schools, okay, is that we have in common the element of urban, should be in inverted commas here, okay, the environment, and project-based work. They do have this, most of them. Okay, they were green in the previous table. Now, what they have partly in common, this is also, is urban mobility and participatory planning. I could understand urban mobility in a way, okay, but participatory planning, I don't really understand how it is not everywhere, at least in Europe, where the tradition is such. I wouldn't say about other countries or continents. I don't know the traditions exactly, but in Europe, participatory planning is very essential. And then in existence is evidence-based planning as such. Okay, of course, planning includes collecting data and doing this, but as is defined, is not present in the various programs. And then the direct relation to the market. Some have indirect via assignments of the students. They go investigate something, but it's not really relation with the market.
Also, we have some relation via thesis, because if they have to do a thesis, they have to go and see people and talk to people in order to have the information they need for the thesis. And internships. So this is, and then, including this part of the work, is that we have two basic profiles. Weak or not weak in urban mobility, so urban mobility is a criterion in relation to this project. And weak or not in participatory planning. This is very, very interesting for the next phase where we will compile a new program, a new course. So it's a 13 or 14-week course, which will have to have a lot of things inside, and you will hear this in the next presentation about this. So this is what I took a little bit more of the time, but I hope you understood how we've been doing here. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pantelis. So we continue with Sofia, who will present participation in integrated plan.
Yannis told me I would do that, so I got confused. Good morning, everyone. I am Sofia Tsadari. I'm an architect and urban planner, and also a member of commonspace, which is a partner of this program, InPlanEd. And we are actually an interdisciplinary team, mainly with urban planners and architects, but also other disciplines. And we have a special expertise on participation methods, so I will focus on that dimension. That InPlanEd program also has as a priority and a basic pillar, let's say. So what I'll try to do is to, let me see this way, because this is too small, so we can't see the presentation. What is important, I think, is to define what participation and participatory processes are. So I would start from the origins and the radical politics and participatory movement of the 1960s, where participatory processes emerged mainly in the second half of the 20th century, adapted actually by a wide range of issues and policies, and different disciplines, not only architecture and urban planning, but also economists, environmentalists, sociologists, or even from social or market research, to the development of spatial development policies and spatial planning, decision-making, etc. Focusing on urban planning and architecture, we would say that participatory planning or community-based planning was initially a movement and later a methodology that emphasized the importance of involving local communities in the planning and decision-making process. It's actually related as well to the post-war, to a wider critique, let's say, on the post-war redevelopment and modernist hierarchical planning process. And it was a movement, of course, that affected widely urban planning, urban design and architecture. So, according to that, we could say that emerged as a response to these criticisms, offering alternative that prioritizes community empowerment, social justice, and inclusivity as different values that we can adapt when we do planning. The main elements of this critique was referred to top-down or versus bottom-down approaches, social equity and justice, community participation, diversity and context sensitivity, power dynamics and collaboration, holistic and inclusive planning, and also responsive to community needs. I'll go quicker to these slides, as I think that we're running a bit late, but also to underline that there have been important people before ourselves that have, let's say, established these values that we express, like Paul Davidoff and the advocacy planning, which sought to empower marginalized communities and ensure their voices were heard in planning processes. Norman Krumholtz with equity planning, under the statement that planners may choose to stay within the narrow boundaries of their customary area of expertise, or they may define new roles for themselves. And another popular phrase that I like very much is regarding to the expertise and the role of experts. We are the experts, but we don't have to decide by ourselves. So asking the user of the space and the stakeholders and everyone involved in the project is quite important. John Friedman with transactive planning, capturing the influence of social and political movements that sought greater inclusivity, democracy, and community involvement. Jonna Friedman with focus on creating flexible and adaptable structures, like the case study of Spatial City. Open architecture of Lucien Kroll, collaboration with the future occupants of a building. Christopher Alexander, of course, regarding mechanisms of city evolution and history. And there are, these are some indicative cases, but of course there have been a lot after that as well, and more recently. Only indicatively, I would refer to experimental housing project in Lima, Université Catholique in Leuven, Biker Wall in the UK, the Oregon Experiment, and SAL project in Portugal. This is as a greater, let's say, context of what we discuss. From another perspective, more regarding the participation of the citizens, let's say, a milestone is this ladder of participation since 1969, which shows these different levels of participation, from the lower ones, the area of non-participation, let's say, where you can manipulate public audiences, to the area of tokenism, of just informing, or a typical consultation that many times is included as mandatory by the specifications of particular procedures, but it's not exactly participation. And then the level of citizen control, as defined by Einstein, but we can use even different terms, regarding better ways of people getting involved in earlier stages and things like that. Actually, participatory planning is a network of forums and public discussions organized to facilitate decision-making and communication between government, citizens, as we said, stakeholders, businesses, scientific experts, and it's a big discussion about whether the role of experts and people are playing equal roles or who is more important. But anyway, it's a democratic process of continuous learning for all of them, where participants gain knowledge about themselves, but also the values and opinions of other participants. According to Creighton, the participatory process is a procedure where the concerns, needs and values of a social group are integrated into decision making. Using another definition by the World Food Programme, is a people-centered approach with the greatest probability to success, since it provides the possibility to empower the voice of the weakest. There are, of course, many definitions. These are not the only ones, but all theories share some important common features, let's say, which are mainly these regarding that the process is not just about providing information to the public. It's also a structured process. I'll refer to that later on. That means that it must be, it must have a structure and steps that we follow and questions addressed that need to be answered. There must be a significant degree of influence, but participants must know that they don't have a sole say. There are different opinions, and somehow we change our minds during this process, and we have a synthesis, let's say, of different viewpoints, aspects, etc. And also, it's not generic or in general political or so election. It's not, for example, participatory planning. We need a specific subject to discuss and a problem to give answer to. So we have a basic structure in these procedures to inform the public. We need a well-informed public in order to be able to participate in such processes. We listen to the public. It's not a matter of tokenism, as we said before, just say something and do what was decided before the public processes. Engage in problem solving and develop agreements, actually. So we have preliminary stages where we elaborate a strategy on how we do the participatory planning process. It's something customized every time. We need to do the stakeholder analysis. We need to have a communication strategy and a participation strategy on how to talk to these different stakeholders, bring them all together, point out the main things that we need. We produce communication material, then we implement the plan, and of course, in the end, there must be evaluation so that everyone and ourselves knows what needs to be changed. These are indicative elements of a process. Could be something like this, but always we need to justify that according to a particular case. I think I've said this. And also we use various tools and methods in order to implement these procedures. Some of them are written here, like dialogue techniques that promote direct dialogue, like dialogue within groups, organize discussions, round tables, things like that. Exercises, case. I underlined already the fact that we need case studies that we discuss focused on something. Role-playing games, brainstorming procedures, field trips. It's important to know. This one. Committees, thematic workshops, open house with exhibition of proposal, discussion of the proposals, procedures of consultation, platforms, online tools, and of course, I'm not now focusing further, but there are tools and particular ways in which we can work on these things. For example, this one, we call that a tree of ideas, and there are different colors of these leaves, where, for example, discussing on something, people can mention positive things, negative things, and solutions proposals regarding, this was from a school, designing, it's a small-scale project, designing the school year along with the school community. So the children would mention something good, something bad, and then a red leaf here, a proposal in order to solve a problem or what I suggest for that, and things like that. This is just an example, of course, and there are many tools and ways in order to accomplish such a project. That was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sofia. And we continue with the presentation of the pilot course, Planning for Inclusive, People-Centric and Climate Resilient Cities by Nadia.
Good morning. The role of the SERF Lab in this project is to co-develop with the partners the structure and syllabus of the pilot course and the related educational materials. The course will be piloted here at UCY and the National Technical University of Athens next year in the fall. Yannis later will give you the administrative details of how that is all going to run. I think the ambition of this project really is to support the future generation of planners to create sustainable cities. And within this project, specifically in the course, we have 3 pillars. Inclusive city, people-centric cities, and climate resilient cities. Now, this is something that was embedded in the project since the beginning, since the proposal stage. So while the development of the syllabus and the course structure and the educational material is still in progress, so we're getting towards the end, these are pillars that we definitely need to address within the course. I've put some definitions here, partly because we want to make sure that these are very broad topics: inclusive cities, climate resilient cities, people-centric cities. So within the project, we want to make sure that when we talk about these things, we agree, or at least we are clear and transparent about what we mean. I'm not going to read through these. We're not going to discuss whether these are the right or wrong definitions, but I've put them here because we have developed a glossary for this course, and based on literature, we have put in a definition for various terms. We have a glossary of about 20-25 terms, and this is one of the supporting materials of the course, and it will also be online on our website. So, coming down to the course. Beyond the 3 pillars, the course is based on the work done by Pantoleon and his colleagues at AESOP, trying to identify gaps in the educational offers, but also what is demanded in the profession. Now, you've seen is a fairly long list of gaps. Some are bigger gaps, some are smaller gaps, and within the space of one course of 13 weeks, one module, obviously we cannot address all those gaps, especially when it comes to technical skills. If we had to just fill in one gap, it would require a single course about geospatial modeling. This course is really about getting planning students to understand how the different methodologies that they might use, but also how things are related together. It's very much about the relationality that is in cities and that is in planning, that when you address something and intervene in something, there might be a trade-off somewhere else, and they need to be aware of what many different stakeholders and many different factors that might impact cities. Now, I know this is fairly small, This is really a course structure, it's not a full program, it's just a course, and as I said, the overall ambition is to support the future generation of planners to achieve sustainable cities. So in the course we have planned a literature focus, which is based on the 3 pillars, climate resilient, people-centric, inclusive, and we have also added systems thinking, because this reflects relationality and how they need to take into account different factors, different stakeholders, and how different elements in the cities affect each other. And it also very much relates to the sustainable development goals. And when you're trying to achieve SDG 11, which is specifically related to city, you might potentially have a negative effect on another SDG. So how do you balance that? We take integrated urban planning as the overarching methodology to achieve sustainable cities within planning. And within this, we pass into a more methodological part of the course, which covers evidence-based design and planning, sustainable mobility, and participatory planning. Now, this is not exactly chronological in the syllabus, but let's say we are about halfway through here. And we want the students to do some practical tasks. This is not going to be fieldwork after all. We're going to have field visits, but because we're going to be working potentially at different scales and with students from different backgrounds, we know that if someone works at the macro scale, looking at the whole city, they're not likely to be walking around the whole city taking detailed data, so they might be doing desk-based research using open source data, which is very different from a group of students that might want to work and look at an individual public space and study in depth how people behave in that public space. We are going to have 2 case studies. I'm not going to say the word real life, real world case studies anymore. They're just case studies. Although there is an ongoing master plan in the UCY campus. We are using the campuses just simply for practicality, because in a 13-week course, again, we cannot go on site somewhere else. The students are going to be here. The workshop is going to be a participatory workshop. That doesn't mean that we are going to get stakeholders involved, because we do not actually have an intervention. This is just students doing work. So this is going to be about the students learning how to develop a participatory process. So they will design a participatory process as if it was a real project. What would they actually do in terms of participation? And then we are going to have a link to practice, looking at various tools, case studies, and design applications at different scales, micro, meso, and macro scale. And this we thought it was important because of the gap that Pantoleon and colleagues found in the link to practice. There are going to be relatively shorter sessions, but also the case studies will also be embedded throughout the course. Of course, we have assessments. This is going to be a postgraduate 8 ECTS course. The assessment has also changed slightly because we've been working together in the last few days to develop these. The partners involved in this are us, the SURF Lab, National Technical University of Athens, Noumena, which is an urban analytics enterprise in Spain, and commonspace. AESOP did not work on the development of the syllabus or the educational materials, despite the fact that they had a lot of experience, because they are going to act as the evaluators of the course, and they're going to ensure and they're going to validate the effectiveness of these. I'm not going to go through this in detail. It's just the preliminary structure of the course, a couple of introductory lectures about the 3 pillars and the the literature, and giving the broad overview about all those challenging elements, factors in cities nowadays. We are expecting to have external speakers. Some are already confirmed, some are not. You might have met at Param in the last few days. And then we go on to the methodologies. All of this is coming with supporting materials, so these are all going to be available to students on an online platform which has been developed by National Technical University of Athens for the purposes of the course, and all the materials for the class are also going to be there, the PowerPoint presentations and so on. So then it goes it continues through the methodologies and the workshop. And finally, we are going to have a lot of supported group work, because this is going to be a collaborative course between UCY and National Technical University of Athens. It's going to be in presence and online at the same time. So whenever there is a lecturer in presence here, and National Technical University of Athens and NTUA is going to see the lecture online, and vice versa. But the students will be working together, so they will have to work online, and that requires quite a lot of time and support from the tutors. Here I'm just going to give an example from the educational materials that we have already developed, and it's just one from each partner covering a different topic. So within urban mobility, developed by NTUA, is a lesson about sustainable urban mobility plans. Here are the 12 steps. Which I think is a fundamental thing for planning students to learn about. We're going to have case studies throughout. This is one about inclusive urbanism for the related lecture developed by us. One about urban mapping. This one is more about the specific technological tools available, developed by Noumena in Spain. And finally, you just heard from Sofia, one about participatory planning developed by commonspace. In terms of actually recording things on site, measuring, investigating what to look for when assessing sustainable cities and the different pillars and the different aspects, we are using as a reference point the 9 criteria of a soft city, which is a book published a few years ago by David Sim from the Gale Institute. There are many of those. I'm not going to go into this in detail. Most of them fits as well. They're very related to the physical environment. So we're going to adapt this a little bit for the student to include the more social aspect. And within the supporting materials, there will be a lot of PDFs. There's just an extract as an example from the soft city, the 9 criteria, and the related. Each of them comes with a short chapter explaining what to look for and what to measure. And I think finally, one very important thing, every lesson is going to come with a lecture summary, which includes expected learning outcomes. These, we also have transferable skills that will be practiced within the lectures, and it will be both in English and in Greek, and this will be available to the students. The same will happen for many case studies presented in the lectures. I think this is very important because obviously most of the target group is Greek speaking, and at least even if we cannot translate all of the material, at least basic information will be available in both languages. No, we're having the discussion later after the next presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilaria. And we have a final presentation by Yannis Paraskevopoulos on the next steps and the long-term perspective of the project.
Hello, I will try not to take too much of your time to have some minutes for discussion later, but I will try to do a quick overview of Finland and also discuss our next steps, but also the long-term perspective of the project. As you heard from the previous speakers, we are in the middle, let's say, or in the first year of the project. AESOP has finalized the competency framework and discovered the different gaps and needs from the labor market and from the higher education sector. And based on their findings, we have completed or we're working on completing the educational material. And an important thing to mention is that we're going to pilot the course, both in NTUA and UCI, as Ilaria mentioned, simultaneously in the same time, working online but also in presence. It will take place from October 2024 to December 2024. It will be open and free for everyone interested. And we're especially inviting practitioners, technical officers, and also higher education students to attend it and provide the needed feedback actually for developing the second iteration of the course based on their feedback and assessment. The key outcomes of the project are going to be the production of transferable COIL course on the grade plan approaches. COIL is mean collaborative online international learning course, an open platform that will function as an online hub for researchers, educators, and students involved and interested in the grade planning, filled with all open educational material and resources developed for InPlanEd. Also, we will focus on training health students and practitioners, professionals in general, on innovative learning practices for integrated plan approaches. And also, we will develop a detailed open online guide describing how to develop a COIL course, higher education course, on the grade plan approaches. Regarding InPlanEd's long-term perspective, we aim to achieve a high educational impact by providing a framework and resources for developing a master-level COIL course on integrated plan approaches, but also by trying to integrate such a course in both NTUA and UCI curriculum, let's say, or their actual courses, which is a challenge by itself. Also, we aim to achieve a considerable scientific impact and policy impact by highlighting the significance of integrated plan approaches on battling climate change for livable and inclusive cities, and also by providing an open online hub with all the material that one can use for this target. Some initial remarks about the project up until now. As you may understand, it's a course, a master-level course with a wide scope, and we aim to introduce potential learners in the disciplinary approach, and therefore we cannot dive into any details of all aspects addressed in this course, and this could be, or maybe should be, the subject of follow-up courses. Also, in this course, we're mostly addressing discipline-based integrated planning, as mentioned for the 4 pillars, and far less role-based integrated planning, which could be the focus of follow-up course. Thank you very much, and we're very much interested in hearing your feedback and comments.
Thank you very much, Yannis. Would you like to
Yeah.
come here so we can have a discussion? Please. Okay, so thank you very much for all the presentations. I think we have an overall idea of what the project is about and what the expected outcomes are. So I can open the floor for questions, suggestions, discussion. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. It's a clarification, really, not a question. I understood from the presentation, it's a 2-month course. Is that correct?
The course is for the semester.
So yes, it's 13 weeks. Yeah, it's going to start here 2 weeks before. Then it starts at NTUA. This is a problem we always have when doing collaborative courses, because in different universities semesters start in different times. And then, but it has to finish by the end of a semester here for grading purposes.
Okay, so it's a 13-week course,
which runs over 11.
Okay, so,
Yes, so a couple of classes are going to be squeezed into the same week, but that's mostly towards the end when it's the supported work. So hopefully students will be able to choose their own time.
Okay, that's the question. So it's an 11 or 13-week course, and you get some credits, if I understand correctly, which you can use later for other courses to, is that correct, to obtain your master's?
Yeah, but it's correct that Nadia can clarify that it's how it has work, they are transferable. So if you're going to do a new master somewhere else, if they have to recognize it, but you can use it to...
Well, okay, I mean, if the course is included in the curriculum, let's say, which is going to be included at UCY, that's part of the ECTS you get for the 5 years degree.
Yes.
If the course is additional, because students have already completed, let's say, the requirements for the 5 years course, if you go for a master's degree, you can ask for a recognition, let's say, of the 8 ECTS in the new master course.
So,
but the 5 years course, both here and in NTUA, if I'm not mistaken, the degree is integrated masters. So it counts towards the masters.
But I think Achilles might be asking more generically. So
well, generically it can be recognized.
It can be, but it's not absolutely automatic. So obviously, if you go into a master's in literature, you cannot have this one recognized. So you still have to ask and say, can I have this recognized? If I do this master.
Are we sure? Are we discussing that those credits were recognized for a master's?
But that's up to each institution. What is happening here, for example, if somebody will come from another institution and they start their PhD, let's say, because you don't have a master's here at the moment, and they have done a course in a previous degree, they can ask for it to be recognized as part of the new degree that they start at the PhD level, let's say. And then it's up to the departmental council, we have a postgraduate committee, to decide whether the content, let's say, of the course can be accepted and recognized as part of the new course. This is the policy of UCY, so each institution has a different way of recognizing courses.
In Greece it may be more difficult, to be honest, in order to include additional ECTS from other master courses in a new master, when you start a master course yourself, a new master course, but a master degree. But in Greece it is a kind of a different situation rather than in Cyprus in terms of accreditation. But I think, I want to make a distinction that has to be clear to everyone. The course is going to be piloted in typical master courses both in the UA and in UCY. Active master courses that already runs.
Programs.
Yeah, in courses of master programs that already run and are typical 13 weeks courses embedded in the degree, the master degree for your needed as elective course actually for the degree. So it's not like a shorter version, it's a full typical master course. In terms of accreditation credits, it will be a different story for Greece, but we cannot do a lot about it, to be honest.
And my concern really is whether you get the students, you attract them to do this 13-week course, and then how do you convince them then to go into a master's in planning? What's the incentive they have? Because they could stop, I suppose.
I'm talking from the point of view of practitioners.
Yeah, I mean, yes. How do we ensure that we get planners? We increase the number of planners.
Okay. I don't think this course necessarily is aimed at increasing the number of planners. It might inspire, say, the practitioner comes from a slightly different background, does this. They might be inspired to go and do master in planning,
Yes.
full master in planning afterwards.
Yes.
Can I add something?
It's an incentive, but they could
it's an
stop
incentive
and
because
not,
then they should, if they come back to UCY, most likely, if they're here, then they also have the incentive of having potentially one less course to do for their future masters.
But I mean, personally, although it's not part of this project, but what I see promising is that this kind of courses, if we had the national framework for micro-credentials, these kind of courses could be part of a micro-credential framework, gradually.
But I would like to add something. I'm not sure if that was clear. In Athens, that's a course of the master's degree.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not only a course that you can pick and get 6 credits. So it emphasizes on these subjects of mobility, participatory, evidence-based, blah blah, within this master's degree, not the integrated 5 years.
Yes.
The master's
In
degree.
Cyprus is the integrated.
So all this discussion with the weeks, it's a typical course of the master's degree, like the others.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if that was clear enough. That's what I mentioned.
It's just a continuation of that same discussion. Nadia, is there a reason why, what do you mean Cyprus doesn't have the system of micro-credentials?
We don't have the national framework for micro-credentials.
The national framework, but can't you attach yourself to a European one? For example,
no,
the
because-
EU Connexus program.
No, I mean,
European one.
we discussed this with the rector because we are interested in offering micro-credentials,
Yeah.
and we cannot do it officially yet, so they will not get a recognized certificate at the end because we still don't have in place a national framework. However, for example, the business school, they have decided to start offering this kind of courses to practitioners without an official certificate and recognition at the end because the market asks for it.
Yes.
And the market is not really, in their case, interested in having a certified official outcome.
Degree at the end of it, you mean?
So the business school is working towards starting offering this micro-credential.
I know, I've heard these conversations about the
Yes.
universities and I'm surprised, for example,
Yes.
this is the way of the future, I think.
Yeah,
But
but
in terms of, going back to Achilles' concerns, you will be attracting your own students and not necessarily practitioners that they're interested in some kind of a goal at the end of it. For example, a lot of people coming to us for a planning course, they want to shift career paths. And that's why they want a planning degree at the end of it or some kind that is going to reflect it. So that was the one question, is that that's the way we will be going now with the micro-credential courses and so on. The second one is that there are some models like that of courses. Why do you run it in parallel to Greece and Cyprus and you don't do it half-half? For example, I know a lot of people in Europe that they choose these courses in order to do a quarter of the course in London, a quarter of another year in Barcelona, and a third quarter of the year in Venice. I mean, there are postgrad courses like that they actually people travel and they locally assimilate quite a bit more by being placed locally, facilitated by Erasmus money. So that's my other question.
yeah, but that has to be part of the program structure. In the program as you have it now, I'm just speaking for UCY, we only accept this kind of recognition when abroad if it's an Erasmus placement through the Erasmus program, which is a semester. We do not have this sort of half of the course, let's say, in Cyprus and half somewhere else. It's not part of the existing 5-year program of architecture.
Okay,
So it will not be recognized. I mean, as
so you couldn't split the ACTS, for example,
this has to be a sort of a departmental decision as regards the program, and if you make such a change, it has to go through the PAE, because students will spend half of the time abroad in a different educational environment. We can do it through Erasmus, because Erasmus as a semester is recognized, but if we decide to split a course, then we have to make this change officially.
And also, if I may add something, to be honest, what you described is a very interesting educational process, let's say. But to be honest, for this project per se, we described, we integrated in the core of the proposal the COIL, the COIL concept, which is described as collaborative online international learning by definition. Another way to describe it, another definition of it, or another way to call it is virtual exchange. It focuses on how people or students from different perspectives or different backgrounds, different spatial backgrounds, can collaborate virtually without having to travel. So the concept is how to pilot and test this very difficult, from a technical standpoint, interaction from two different universities. Even though we speak Greek, all of us speak Greek, and we have very similarities in the system, let's say. But even so, it was difficult exactly because in the core of the proposal is to pilot and test a COIL course, a virtual exchange course, which students from different universities, from different countries actually, create a virtual class consisted by two physical classes in two different countries or much more. So this was a different objective, let's say, of this particular programming project.
That's an interesting one. We tried it during COVID. We gave a project in Greece. We actually generated a design project in Greece simply because there were more Google data in terms of the Cypriot students understanding the context of the site, and we had a group of Greek students being on site, transferring information. Where it didn't work is the lack of databases in both countries, which it appears as if you're setting up through the course. So that's a very important aspect of it, I think, setting up the database in order for that to work efficiently.
Just a small comment on this aspect. A part of the education material is to create a list actually of data sources and data sets available both in Greece and Cyprus. So we will try to address this issue to the best of our knowledge. That's it.
Yes, Ilaria.
Sorry. Will the course be only offered to planning students, or is it going to get students of architecture, geography, etc.? And the second part is, you said the course will be in person and hybrid, let's say, in both places. But can any student from another country be enrolled in the course online only?
Online, okay. As far as higher education students go, this is integrated in the program at UCY and the program at NTUA. So they will be from those programs, the students. For the practitioners, it will be offered through the UCY Lifelong Learning Center, so they will be able to register through there. But it's still expected to be in presence. So potentially, say, a student from another university, let's say, who's an architect and doing master, is a practitioner, there's nothing stopping them to register for the Lifelong Learning Center. But it's still expected to be in presence. So online international students from abroad sitting in their home, no, we are not expecting that. What we are considering, discussing, doing is whether we want to open to practitioners in an informal way. So whether they can sign up to the course, but just to follow the lectures, but not do the group work, not do the assessment, and not get the credits. So they say, okay, I'm interested, but I don't have the time to sit down with students for extra hours, go to site visits and so on. Then I'll just see the didactic, the more didactic part. We are considering doing that, but of course then that cannot be accredited.
Just a question about databases. You said you're creating databases, and they will be accessible only to the students?
We are not creating databases.
You're setting up databases?
No. We are listing all the database sources, all the data set sources which are open access,
Okay.
or even the ones that are not open access, but we are detailing where they can be found and what they include.
Okay, it's clear.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, great, thank you very much. We can have then, thank you very much for the presentations.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you. So we can have a 20 minutes break.
20 minutes
We are late anyway.
Speakers are not here yet.
Okay, we can have, let's say, 15 minutes break, so we can make our coffees outside, and we come back for the round table.
I'll take the one. Two for each. Thank you very much.
I've got one for Francisco.
Sure.